Welcome back. So, this is weird. We're live. Well, not really live, recording twice in 1 week, something we haven't done ever. So, I said I'd be back within the next week if something happened. And a lot over the last, let's go 48 hours has happened. And let's get into it here. So, we're going to start with the TWI 500. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole 500 list here. Just the top 20. Okay. I'm going to do 20 up. So I'm going to end with one, but we're going to start with 20 here. Jacob Fought 2 is number 20. I don't know about that one. I'm not saying Jacob had a bad year. And this is from, I think, if I'm correct, the beginning of August last year to the end of July this year. I don't think Jacob Fought 2 was a top 20 guy last year. Well, within the past year. And so that's one I'm a little hesitant on. 19, Trick Williams. That one, I can see the argument. Not really against it. But yeah, I'll go Trick Williams 19. Damian Priest 18. I no. No on Damian Priest at 18. Damian Priest. If this was 2 years ago when he won the world title at Mania. That was last year. Holy shit. That was a year ago. Yeah, so no, because if we're going from August of last year to end of July, Damian Priest was not a top 18 male wrestler in the world. His world title reign at that point either already ended or was close to ending. And then he had the terrible Finn Balor feud. And then he hasn't really done anything significant. He faced Drew at Mania. And then now he's in the Aleister Black feud. So no, Damian Priest not a top 18 guy. That's one I disagree with. Kenoshi Takeshita, I'd move up. I'd move him up because he had the Continental Championship and he won the G1 Climax. So I feel like those two, not really the Continental title, but the winning the G1 is kind of significant here. So I mean, 17's fine, but I think you can argue he should be higher. Number 16, Bandito, who is as of right now, my 2025 Wrestler of the Year. Won the ROH Championship, won the AEW Tag Team Championships. That would be within this time frame, if I'm correct. So I feel like Bandito should be higher. And maybe the only reason he's lower is because everything he technically accomplished is from April on. So it's really about what April, May, June, July, about a 4 month period here compared to a year. So 8 months out of that, he was really doing nothing. So 16 makes sense. 15, CM Punk. I have no issues with that one. I think CM Punk was a top 15 guy for the past year. Obafemi at 14. No issues with that one either. Zack Sabre Jr. at 13. That one I kind of disagree with. So I don't think he would have had the G. No, he would have had the G1 already. Yeah, he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, main event of Wrestle Kingdom, and if I'm correct, would have won the G1 by that point. Yeah, he would have won the G1 at that point because it ends in like the middle of August, if I'm correct. Yeah, he would have had the G1 at that point. So he would have had all three of those things under his belt by this. Also add in another IWGP Heavyweight Championship reign. He should be higher, top 10 easily, in my opinion. Joe Hendry at 12. I mean, if you go from the past year, Joe Hendry, he won the TNA Championship. Wasn't really that good of a reign. He got super popular. He's still somewhat popular. I mean, it's not as hot as it was, but I don't know if I could put Joe Hendry at 12 just because his theme song and himself got stupid over. So that's one I disagree with. Okada at 11, I 100% disagree with. So Okada, for the most part, was not. Okada hasn't been consistent. That's mainly the thing here. The Omega match at All In, which would qualify into this. was not that good. The Osprey match was literally Osprey match happened late, yeah, in that time frame. That was his best match, and that was in December. December, if I'm correct. So I wouldn't have Okada at 11. Okada, I don't think. I mean, maybe borderline top 20 because he's been a champion the entire time. He might actually be the only one to have been a champion from the beginning of the window to the end of the window. But and that's probably why he's 11, but you can't sit there match quality wise and say, "Oh, he's 11." So, yeah, I'd move Okada down, but if the 11's the justification because he's been champion the entire time, and sure, I guess 11. Osprey at 10, I wonder if the reason he's at 10 is because he hasn't won a world title. He hasn't been world champion at all. So, I wonder if that's why. Because other than that, it make Okada, I mean not Okada, Osprey at 10 seems low. Whatever. Mystico at 9, that seems to be a controversial one, as Uncle Dave thinks Mystico should be number 1 based off something. I'd move Okada up. No, why am I not Okada? Fuck, why do I keep thinking of Okada here? Mystico up a bit, but I'm not. I don't think it's a crime that he's not number 1. I do think he should be in the top 5, though, because he has had a great year. Rollins at 8, I have no issues with that one there. Swerve at 7, no issues with that one there. Jay Uso at 6, I don't think he should be in the top 10, but I do think he should be top 20. Listen, he won the Royal Rumble. Just like Joe Hendry, his theme song and himself got uber popular here. Okay? But just like Joe Hendry, his world title reign was not good. In Jey Uso's case, it might go down as one of the worst world title reigns in WWE history. I don't think Jey Uso should be at 6. Hiroki Goto, I'm fine with him being in the top 10. I wouldn't put him at top 5, though. Hangman Page at 4, yeah, I'm fine with him being in the top 5. I go top 5 for Hangman. 3, Gunther. I have no issues with that one. I think Gunther is a solid number 3 there. Moxley at 2. So his AEW World Title reign was ass, but based on the criteria, he does fit majority of those. And I have no issue with Moxley at 2. I think Moxley is 2. And then Cody Rhodes at 1, which I have no dispute over. I thought Cody was going to end up being number 1 when the list was going to be revealed. So that's your top 20 there. Another thing that has happened within, I want to go the last 24 hours, is Jazmyn Nyx of NXT is not being brought up, not being re-signed, was written off abruptly yesterday on NXT, if you saw it. If not, sorry for the spoiler. This is the risk you run when you're bringing in these NIL people. They never really had a passion for the business. Jazmyn Nyx, for some reason, thought she should have been paid more money, which I'm fine with people. If you want to go make your money, go make your money. But there comes a point where you price yourself out, and now you likely you price yourself out. It's simple. And WWE, who thought it was a fair offer, just looked at themselves like, yeah, this ain't worth it. So she's gone. That's one where I don't think she's going to continue with wrestling. I seriously don't think she's one that's going to continue. And that's just, I wish I could say it's sad, but like she didn't really progress much. And with both Fallon and JC both ready to move up, she probably would have been lost on her own in NXT because she sure as hell was not ready to move up. And yeah, once again, that's the risk you take from bringing in these ex-college gymnastic stars, cheerleaders, football players, baseball players, weightlifters, etc. that didn't really grow up as fans, didn't really have the passion for the business. And that's kind of the risk you see there. Sometimes you get an Oba Femi or a Tiffany Stratton where they have this. Well, I went first Tiffany Stratton, and she was actually trained before she went to WWE. Obafemi, where he clicked, he had a passion for it, and it's worked, and he's now gonna be a big star. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword right there with the NLS stuff, which Jazmyn Nyx the best, but I think this is probably the last you hear of her when it comes to wrestling. I think she ends up doing something else, but I'm not gonna get myself in trouble and say what I think it is. But yeah, we had that. And the next thing that occurred over the last 48 hours, really the last 24, is Gail Kim. So what originally started off as her shitting on a spot in a death match, and then Brett Lauderdale, the owner of GCW, snapped back. And then since then, devolved into I like my wrestling looking realistic, going at Riho for her size, randomly throwing in that she tried pushing for her versus Mercedes Moné when Mercedes left WWE, which off topic on that one, way to make it about you again when you were supposed to be quote unquote retired for the 500th time. And you're kind of going to see an aggravated tone here with this because a lot of people are now coming to the realization that Gail Kim, for the most part, for at the very worst, the last 10 years, has always come off as bitter. She's not consistent at all. She got herself fired from TNA. I'm guessing that door to WWE is closed, considering all the shit she said in the past, which, I mean, WWE brings a lot of people back, but Gail Kim isn't one of them that's worth it. AEW is not bringing her in. And my guess is she thinks she's too big for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. That's a guess, not really a prediction or a fact there. But, and a lot of fans brought it out correctly. AJ Lee and there's some other wrestler, I want to say EO. Or, no, not EO. Bliss. Are like all the same size or like smaller, and she had nothing to say about that. And she turned it into, well, they're sexualizing her. And I'm sorry, when I see Rio wrestling, I don't see them as they're sexualizing Rio at all. Not at all. Oh, well, they take close ups of her ass. You had close ups of your ass taken in TNA. You were the same person that came out with her boobs pushed up in a cowboy hat bringing out America's Most Wanted at one point. So what the fuck are you talking about? This is like when Mickey James a few months ago said, I don't like women wrestling with their ass hanging out. They shouldn't be over reliant on that when her entire TNA career was literally her wrestling with her ass hanging out. Hardcore country. I don't get it. A lot of these ex stars, for some reason, they come off as very bitter. And Gail Kim has come off as really bitter for at least the last 10 years. The only reason it got ignored by a lot of people is because it was always just specifically towards WWE, which she had her experiences there. It wasn't good. That's her. I'm not going to shit on her for that. But just put down the phone, dude. Stop tweeting. Because at this point, all you're doing is getting yourself in more and more shit here. You are legitimately ruining your goodwill with a lot of fans. Just put down the phone. That's all you got to do. Just put the phone down. Stop tweeting. Put the fucking phone down. Because you're just digging yourself into a bigger and bigger hole. Stop tweeting. Put the fucking phone down. And move on. You don't have to respond to everyone. Put the fucking phone down. Simple as that. That simple. Put the fucking phone down. Stop tweeting. So that's the Gail Kim shit. So another thing that happened yesterday was the end of NXT. They did the TNA invasion here, which really felt like the TNA invasion was just people that was on TNA that have appeared on WWE TV before. That's what it legitimately felt like a lot. It was Moose, well, the System, Mike Santana, and then legit everyone else was ex WWE guys. It felt like Ardona, Inspiration, fucking Eric Young, which Eric Young makes sense. I mean, when you're sending out Team TNA, you're sending Eric Young out. Like, if this is what the invasion angle is going to be, and it's going to be NXT versus the System Santana and then anyone that had any connections to WWE. Help me out. Help me out. Cardona doesn't even want to fucking be there. That man wants to be in WWE or AEW. He is legit begging for AEW or WWE to sign him. Like, count me out. If the invasion angle of NXT versus TNA is, excuse me, just going to be NXT stars versus anyone with a WWE tie. Count me out. And they did end up losing TNA here. Let's just go a little off topic. They're probably losing Masha Slamovich for a hot minute, or maybe for good, depending on how this transpires. As she was allegedly, it came with photographs and text messaging and shit, but it's unconfirmed text messages. Photographs are shows that she allegedly abused her ex-boyfriend, which would go, if I'm correct, the time frame would be like 2023 to earlier this year. She's not going to be around for a hot minute. This is even proven. This is proven facts or fiction that she did abuse her ex. If it's fact, then she's done. She's done. No one should be abused, whether it's physically, sexually, whatever, verbally. No one should be abused. So my thoughts to legit everyone involved on that one. Not going to entirely get into that one, but I felt like I probably should have acknowledged what's going on with that. But yeah, random to go back onto this topic. But the NXT TNA invasion thing, yeah, if it's just going to be a bunch of ex WWE guys that are currently signed to TNA versus current NXT people, I'm out. And you should be too. You should be too. It should be TNA pushing guys that are their core people, minus Tessa, because I don't see WWE letting Tessa on effing TV. Like, so we had that tonight on AEW, which is recorded about hour and a half before AEW goes live. The expectation is Tony Khan is going to announce the women's tag titles. Like I brought up last show, I don't think he should do it, but it's really not a high standard here when it comes to the women's tag titles in a major wrestling promotion because WWE's has done theirs so fucking terribly that it's legit impossible to do worse with that. The thing with AEW with that is you can't really book your single women stars correctly. How the fuck you booking an entire tag division correctly? And then randomly tonight we're getting Chris Statlander versus Mina for the women's title. That came out of nowhere, but whatever. Yeah, John Cena AJ Styles was announced. Where I'm that one I feel like was more fan pressure and Cena was like just give me Styles. Because Styles originally was not, according to Cena himself, was not planned for this retirement tour. So I've had to make the guess. We're at the point now where and I think Brock was honestly one of them where Cena is picking out his final opponents. And I think Cena has already mapped out his final matches, which I think one will be in Australia. I think he does one in MSG. He definitely does one in Boston. Survivor Series, I think he does War Games, just to check that off his list. And then Washington, a Saturday main event, which a lot of people think it's going to end up being Gunther. I think it's probably going to end up being Gunther too. I would go Braun Breaker for that one, but it looks like it's probably going to be Gunther for the last one. So that's really it. It felt important enough to record now and do it because of that was a lot to happen in the last 28, 48 hours since I record Monday afternoon. But yeah, I actually was the NXT card officially announced this week because NXT, not Battleground. Is it Battleground? No. No Mercy. What the hell am I thinking? NXT No Mercy this Saturday, not Sunday. Usually NXT events are on Sunday. This one is on Saturday, 7 p.m. on Peacock. Don't go to ESPN. This is on Peacock in the US, Netflix internationally. Okay. We have 6 matches. Triple H, take a fucking hint. This is how you do it. So they added Javon Evans versus Josh Briggs and Jordan Graves versus Blake Monroe in a weaponized steel cage match. I think JC Jane's retaining, which now with Jazmyn Nyx gone, I think whoever the replacement is for ends up helping JC win. Sol Ruka versus Lainey Reed now is the match. I have Lainey Reed winning it. Oba Femi, Ricky Starks. I think Oba's going to win. I think Ricky's moving up. Ethan Page, Tavion Heights. Tavion Heights for this one. I think Ethan Page is moving up. Either Ricky Saints or Ethan Page, and it'd probably make more sense if it was Ricky Saints, just based off who's Rollins is facing in Australia. Actually, no, maybe. Either Page or Saints, I think, is joining the Vision, and they're gonna help Rollins win at Crown Jewel. But I think Page and Saints, this is it for them in NXT. Jordan Grace, Blake Monroe. I'd honestly have Blake win and then start to move Jordan up, but I think they're gonna give Jordan a win, and they're gonna do the trilogy match at the next NXT event. Javon Evans, Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs needs the win here. He does need the win here, but I think they're gonna go Javon Evans with this one. Because the end game for Oba Femi Net World title is Javon Evans winning that championship. I don't know how they get back to it, but Javon Evans Oba Femi is Javon. Yeah, Javon Evans Oba Femi. That is the end game for the NXT championship. Or maybe they end up doing Oba versus Joe Hendry when Joe Hendry officially signs with WWE. But that is that. Nothing really significant came out of Monday Night Raw besides Rhea Ripley looking like one of the avatars. That was a lot of mess. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there wasn't really anything to come out of Raw. I don't think there's going to be much to come out of SmackDown this week, except for the Women's Championship match, which I think Stratton's winning. No offense. I don't think anyone wants to see Stephanie versus Nia or Stephanie versus Jade. But yeah. So nothing really comes out of those two. Knowing Triple H has two more effing matches left to announce for Crown Jewel, which they gotta stop. If you're gonna, I'm gonna go on a little rant here. If you're going to have it on ESPN Unlimited, and maybe it's ESPN's fault, maybe it's your own, but you're gonna have commercials, and then as bad as last event was, which I rewatched. I said Punk AJ versus Rollins and Becky was my match of the night. I rewatched it. It was 100% the women's match. I think that was more nostalgia feel at the time when I was watching it live. Rewatching it a second time, it was definitely the women's match, so I recant that one. But when you put out the piece of shit that was WrestlePalooza, and now you're gonna have people wake up at 8 a.m. on the 11th, which is a Saturday, you need to have a show that delivers. And the 5 match thing is brutal. It doesn't work. You may have been able to pull it off in NXT when you really only had like 20 people that were worthy to go into fucking takeovers. This is main roster WWE. Stop booking it like you stop booking the PLEs like you're fucking booking takeovers. Because the matches are not the same quality of the ones you book at takeovers. 6 to 7 matches. That's what it should be. 6 to 7. SummerSlam and Mania, bump that shit up 10 or 10 max, 8 minimum. Not the shit with the 5 or 4 match cards. It's pathetic. So we'll probably only have 2 more matches announced for this one. If I had to guess, one of them's going to be Rhea and Io versus Asuka and Kyrie. And if I had to guess, the other one ends up coming. They'll probably end up being some version of like the Vision versus like Jimmy, or effing LA Knight, some combination of that, or maybe they get Punk on the card, or it could be AJ Becky. That could be the other one. It's gonna be some combination of the Vision versus like one of those 5, and that's gonna be your Crown Jewel card. And I mean, just based off the 3 matches, I don't know who Stephanie's facing yet, so I can't really judge that match. But Styles, Cena, I'm interested in seeing that, and then Cody Rollins. That was the only good thing from Raw this past week, so I'm interested in that. I will be back and recording again either sometime next week or Saturday before I do Shots Fired, if I'm doing Shots Fired this week. That's still up in the air. But yeah, unless something major happens between tonight's AEW and the time I come home from work tomorrow, I'm probably not recording again. But yeah. for the second time this week. Enjoy. Adios. Farewell.